This is Jordan Tower with JT News. Make sure you smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Let's get right into the news. Well, Birdman goes on Big Facts. He talks about a lot of things. He talks about kissing Wayne and wow, that's like, you know, his son. He talks about all kinds of stuff, man. He really bigs up NBA Youngboy. Talks about how Young Thug and all these people came from him. Talks about Drake, Nicki, making things good with Lil Wayne. Says he went over to Wayne's house after 2 years of going through that stuff. Or I think it was 3 years. And said, well, how much money do you want to Wayne? Wayne said $30 million. He gave him $50 million. Come on. I think he really owed Lil Wayne $50 million, right? Okay, let's be honest. I think that was the number. And, like, he's like, you know, I love Birdman, man, because, like, he's inspirational. He sold so many records. He put so many people on, right? And I think he's trying to right his wrongs later in his life, okay? I really do. Because, like, who wants to live? You want to be cool with everybody you made, like Manny Fresh and everybody. Like, I think he gave Manny Fresh all his publishing and everything. Make sure he's getting those big checks, you know? Lil Wayne wanted, I think it was more than $50 million at first. The lawyers determined it was $50 million. Birdman did pay that. They're cool now. But I think as part of the whole thing, he didn't just work it out like that. He said, I'll settle it. They settled. And the terms were Wayne goes directly with Universal. Drake goes directly with Universal, and so does Nicki. They're directly to Universal now. So I know a lot of you could tell me, oh, that you don't know what you're talking about. Bro, I know business, okay? And this stuff was printed, okay? This stuff was in print. Now, another thing he goes on to say, out of Wayne's whole career, gave him $500 million, right? Out of Drake's whole career, gave him $500 million. Out of Nicki's whole career, gave $300 million. I don't know about that. I think it sounds good in an interview, but I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I don't know, man. It could be true. It could not be true. You know, I don't know. But definitely hundreds of millions were given to each of them. They generated tons of money, okay? But I believe if Lil Wayne had been paid $500 million throughout his career, I don't think he would have been in a space where he needed Jay-Z to pay a bill for him, you know? Remember Jay-Z had to step in and take care of that government bill for him? I don't think he would be in a place where he needed that, you know? And Lil Wayne was vocal about that. How many records Drake sold to date? Drake has sold 200 million records sold worldwide, okay? That's probably not including his latest release. So, you know, you do 200 million times 10, you know, you're getting to like 2 billion. I mean, it's possible, you know, it's possible. I think that 500 million towards Drake might have been distributed, but like, you know, there's other people that got a cut of Drake. How many? Okay, so how many records? Lil Wayne, how many has he sold? Lil Wayne sold to date. Lil Wayne has sold 120 million records, so that would mean Lil Wayne has sold less records, obviously, right? 70 million. So Wayne has sold 80 million records less than Drake. How many has Nicki Minaj sold? That's interesting. Nicki Minaj sold to date 100 million records. Okay. I mean, you know, he's definitely given them hundreds of millions of dollars each, but he was giving like specific figures. Plus, I got to tell you guys something else. When Birdman says he got a check for $100 million, the check went to Cash Money Records to take care of business. These companies are giving you a loan towards future earnings at Universal, right? Because that's what their 80-20 deal is with. Some of that money goes to Slim. Some of that money goes to Birdman. And the rest goes to operating expenses. You got to put out records. You got to pay. They're an independent label, essentially. They have an 80-20 deal. They get 80%, right? So they do use the building at Universal, right? But they have their own people, too. They have their own, social media marketers. They have their own buyers for Spotify and Apple. You got to buy placements. These things got to be on playlists. You got to make sure you have a radio person. Like, all these people got to get paid, and that comes out of your operating expenses. Universal isn't going to just make 20% and handle all those expenses. And I'm sure Universal takes on some of those expenses and bills it to them. And it comes out of that money because it's just a chargeback because they took out a loan. But I think Drake's just direct with Universal now, to be honest. And Lil Wayne is too. Doesn't say Cash Money anymore. Nicki, I don't know. I'm not sure. She hasn't dropped an album recently. Oh, yeah, she did. But let me look it up before we go on to the next topic. Nicki Minaj. Let's see. What's her latest release? Was this? Beam me up, Scotty. What does this say? Republic Records. Yeah, it doesn't say Cash Money. She's direct. That was part of that whole thing with Wayne and Birdman. He didn't talk about that in the interview, though. He wouldn't. It's not as sexy to talk about, right? So then we got Tory Lanez. He said it's been real. Here's the deeper dive on that. He's going to court today. So first, he's being brought to court. There's an accident that he has to go to court for. Next, today or tomorrow, right? Maybe it's tomorrow, Friday. He's reportedly returned to court with the incident involving Meg Thee Stallion. Hearing comes 1 month after last court appearance over allegations that he violated a court order. Then he managed to avoid going to jail and said his bond was increased back then. However, this isn't the only legal trouble he has gotten himself into. He's also being brought to court by a man who was left disfigured by a car accident involving his vehicle. Remember, but I think, I'm going to be honest, pretty sure this occurred a year ago, and Tory Lanez was in an Uber. And they probably found out he was a famous rapper, right? And went after him. It says he was in Florida driving his 2020 Porsche Cayenne Coupe Turbo when someone in a 2016 Range Rover caused a chain reaction rear-end collision, striking one vehicle, propelling one vehicle into the plaintiff's vehicle. This was on I-95. Maybe this is a whole different accident. I don't know. But the guy wants damages to his vehicle and medical bills paid. You don't have insurance, buddy? First of all, Tory has insurance. That goes through insurance. Yo, people get so greedy, man. Yo, it would be hard to find a lawyer to take that to court. You would have to get a lawyer that has no boundaries. Most lawyers would not take that to court. They would just say, yo, get the max on the policy. That's insane. Unfortunately, I've had to deal with that before with a death in an accident. My girlfriend's daughter passed away in an accident. We had to deal with that, and I learned way too much about that kind of stuff. And they don't go for certain stuff, but it depends on the state you're in. Anyways, this is Jordan Tower with JT News. I appreciate you guys. We'll see what happens with Tory. I'll update you on that. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll check you guys in the next one.